Okay, then, I suppose we'll have a part three. So, Palestine action. Now, let's be careful here. Got to word things responsibly. Um, a little while ago, some RAF airplanes were defaced, causing millions of pounds worth of damage in a protest by the group Palestine Action, raising awareness about the plight of the people in Gaza and whatnot. In response to that, and potentially also other information about the group that is not currently public, according to some sources, the government decided to add them to the prescribed list of terrorist organisations, which therefore also meant that if someone were to publicly voice support for that group, then that would have applied to them the consequences of publicly voicing support for a terrorist organisation, which is obviously against the law and can end up giving you a prison sentence or other punishments. So obviously that has created quite a bit of conflict in the past month or two. You've ended up having people going out and protesting. I think there was an event in London a few days ago where you had maybe as many as 500 or so people, or at least in the hundreds, going and all sort of like at the same time writing a message on a placard together or what have you, stating their support for that group and then being arrested en masse. And the view amongst many, I suppose, is that it wasn't really wise for the government to have put the group on the terrorist list, or at the very least, it wasn't wise for them to have not divulged more of their reasoning for putting them on the list, because obviously it doesn't seem like in the minds of most people in the public that some activists from their group having defaced some military equipment is good enough grounds for them to have been placed on that list. So then people are protesting against that. Perhaps some are also viewing the idea of Palestine Action, the group, as being synonymous with the cause for backing the Palestinians in the face of everything that's happening over there with Israel right now. But nonetheless, this has become sort of something of a lightning rod situation where the government seems to be wrong-footed on it. Now, on the face of it, I would not say that them having done what they did in sort of like that high-profile incident with the RAF, that being good enough grounds to put them on a terrorist list. Now, that is to say, I do not agree with or condone what it is that they did, in the same way that back when we had Just Stop Oil and Extinction Rebellion and all the rest of them, people who want to go stand in the middle of the road and block traffic or throw soup over Van Gogh paintings or whatever. Similarly, I say, no, that's not the way that I personally think you should be going about doing those things. Those things in of themselves are, if you're vandalising stuff, that's a criminal act in of itself anyway. So it's already got laws covering that you shouldn't be doing it, and those laws should be applied, and blah blah blah. There are better ways to get your message across, and you only stand to polarize or push people away if you're using methods that people, or a large number of people, are going to find quite questionable. So that's my stance on that, being that at the very least, I don't think they should have done what they did. But from the information available to me currently, it doesn't appear that ought to have warranted them being put on the terrorist list. If any of you are watching out there, I think I've been quite careful in my wording. I have not suggested support for any groups in particular. I am only commenting on my views of certain acts perpetrated by people in certain groups. There we go. I think we're good. No knocks at the door for me. But that is going to continue to be a headache of a situation, really, because I think you are going to carry on seeing more and more people protesting, holding up placards, getting themselves arrested for the sake of it. And obviously that's not what's going to end up being applied to them, is not the intention of what that anti-terrorist laws are meant to be there for, really, is it? I mean, I know I'm giving you a bit of a stereotype, but it's people in balaclavas plotting how to make bombs on the internet or something. That ought to be more of the focus than Granny's gone down to a protest because she doesn't like the Palestinian children starving. But as with all things I say on this channel, I suppose we'll have to wait and see what comes of it. But it struck me when I was watching back part 2 that I thought that's a thing that I've not mentioned on the channel either. So we'll give that one a little bit of a look in. I'm interested to hear your thoughts on this, guys. But you know, do take care with the way in which you word things. We wouldn't want any of us getting in trouble now, would we? Was that it? Was there anything else I was going to give you? The problem is, as much as you're getting extra content from me today, as I'm killing time here in this lovely little park, at the same time it's even more ad-libbed than usual. So in the middle of recording, I'm having to go, oh shit, was there anything else I was going to say? Was there anything worth mentioning? Are they going to nationalise the water? I don't think they are, but some of the people out there want them to nationalise the water. Are we going to get electoral reform? Well, a lot of parties want it, but will the parties who win under first past the post want to change the system? That's another question, I suppose. What about that universal basic income? You know, with AI taking all those jobs, it's going to be quite a transformation. All those entry-level jobs of admin and coding, the middle management, that might end up going, but then again, will the AI end up creating new job opportunities? That could be the thing as well. But if this really is going to be the greatest change since the Industrial Revolution or the Information Revolution with that of computing in general, then surely the upheaval is going to lead to quite a bit of disruption in the jobs market, and perhaps we will need some kind of a safety net. But no, we're not going to get one anytime soon, are we? Let's be realistic, boys and girls. I've been trying to eat more fruit every day, and that's going pretty well. If you smuggle fruit in via a drink, it doesn't feel like you're forcing yourself to eat fruit as much. There are other brands of orange available here, but that's a little trick I've been using lately. Just taking my apples and oranges in liquid form. It's an easy way to sneak more fruit into your system. And to be fair, I did notice actually that the last couple of years, especially working in a nursery, because you know the places are just germ factories with so many little children and runny noses and all the rest of it. But I've noticed the last couple of years I have been getting a lot more ill more often, even to the point of like needing antibiotics to clear up some like chest infections or other stuff, like a couple of years running really. And part of that I was blaming with my setting of where I work, and then part of that as well I was thinking I wasn't really living the healthiest lifestyle, to be honest. The reason I mention all this is because in the past like week or two, again I got a little bit unwell, something a little bit chesty, a little bit throaty, you know, that kind of thing, coughing up, whatever. But it was noticeable to me that I thought, you know what, if I'd come down with this like before I was trying to be healthier and eating better food and stuff, probably when it hit its worst, I would have missed like a day or two of work during it, because I would have felt that bad. And this time round I noticed, yeah, you know what, I felt pretty shitty for a couple of days, but I was actually able to power through with it, and overall it didn't touch me as much as it had before. And it's weird, isn't it, because I'm sure a lot of you know this anyway, but you go through your life with really obvious bits of advice always being given to you, you know, like you need to do some regular exercise, you need to eat your fruits and vegetables, you shouldn't spend too much time on screens, you should do this, that and the other, and you nod along and you go, yeah, that all sounds quite sensible, yeah, I suppose you should. But at the same time, it all feels, or for me at least for a long time, it all felt a little bit peripheral. A little bit of a tertiary task or objective, something that was optional in a way, something that wasn't really core to my day-to-day being, but was just kind of like, all right, okay, yeah, you want to be a bit healthier, you can do this, that and the other, more for physical aesthetics than anything else. But I am beginning to notice the difference, genuinely. I'm going to sound like some bloody health convert nut or something like that, I don't know, but really basic stuff, like eating more fruit and vegetable every day, drinking more water. That was another thing. I was horribly dehydrated all the time, was drinking nowhere near enough, and a lot of it was just like sugary drinks anyway. But honestly, like these little changes do help. They do improve things, and I've really noticed that myself in the last month or two, and it's genuinely made me go, oh shit, if I'd had the mindset to be doing this stuff ages ago, I probably would have been enjoying life and getting a bit more out of it more often. I would have been finding things easier than I am now. because you know your body, your mind as well. All of it all runs off of everything that you put inside it. And again, I'm saying something that sounds really obvious, but you know when sort of like you can say something, you know certain information, but then having experienced it and truly understood it from your own perspective, like the same simple words can take on different meaning because you've got that extra context in your own head where you go, oh, okay, I actually get it now. I've got the lived experience of it. Genuinely, that's the thing that doctors and nutritionists will be going, yes, we've been telling you that forever. But I just wanted to pass on the good word, boys and girls. You know, no, it's not Jesus Christ. It's healthy eating. Because genuinely, I've got more energy. I feel happier most days as well. And it has been fairly subtle little changes. And you know, you'll have to. Some of you are probably already doing it yourselves. Probably some of you are miles ahead of me on that kind of stuff. But others, you might be thinking, yeah, that sounds good, but I just can't get myself to do it. I just don't. Yeah, that's the difficulty, isn't it? It's kind of breaking your existing pattern of behaviour in order to introduce new things, and immediately you encounter sort of a level of resistance in your own head where you kind of go, oh, that involves changing things, that involves doing new things, doing different things. It requires effort on top of what I'm doing right now. So you've kind of got to find a way to trick yourself almost. This is what works for me. I find ways to trick myself into thinking that I'm having fun by doing basic shit that I'm supposed to be doing. In my case recently, it's been like doing daily logs with AI, like where I've got goals for each day, how much fruit and veg I'm supposed to eat, how much I'm supposed to be hydrated, have I done any movement or exercise or whatever, and sort of you tally it all up at the end of the day, and then I'll go, oh, okay, look, this little document that I've just made summing up my day says that I've done good. The computer says I've done good. And then for me at least, I don't know what works for you, but for me, I try and weave that into a little thing where I go, okay, if I have a few good days, I can justify to myself treating myself to some shit that I want, you know, buy myself some stuff that I want off of eBay or whatever else. Because that's another thing I'm trying to weave into all sort of money management, trying to manage my own spending and actually budget for once in my life. What I suppose the point that I'm trying to say is that the particular things that I've been doing recently, they may work for you, they may not work for you. We've all got different brains, haven't we? But at the very least, I have noticed very positive changes in making like those little lifestyle shifts there. So if any of you folks out there do regularly find yourselves in a bit of a rut or feel, you know, just that you're not getting as much out of life as you really hoped that you would be, don't get me wrong. I'm not marching down the street every day kind of going, oh my goodness, isn't life wonderful? The birds, the trees, the sky, it's lovely. But it's just little things like not randomly feeling shitty at some point in the afternoon for no reason. And going, oh yeah, I just had a really long day at work and I don't feel quite as tired from it as I might have done otherwise. You know, at the very least, this is me trying to say to you guys, if any of you do feel that there's room for improvement in those kind of areas for you, it's worth doing. If you can find a way to get yourselves to do it, it is worth doing. Right, we are calling it a day now. I think I've touched on a number of different subjects. We've done the hobbies, we've done the news, we've done Captain Swiss's AI-riddled self-help advice. I think we're finished now. Definitely no part 4. Catch you later, folks.